Steve.
Oh, hit that like, everybody. We're about to get started. Come on. Getting close.
I tried calling, but they don't have a listing for Mr. Wonderful.
What spelling did you use?
Hey, you want to make $14 the hard way?
Could easily be accomplished with a computer.
He's a genius, see?
Gee, I wish we had one of them doomsday machines.
You think you know some about everything, don't you?
I love lamb.
Oh, come on! What the hell?
I'm getting whiplash from my burps, eh?
On Instagram? Are we up on Substack? Are we up? Are we up and on our feet everywhere? There we go. Almost. Come on now. There we go. Okay. Excellent. What's up? Oh, thanks for the hearts, Substack. Say hi. And Instagram. Give us some love. Give some angry emojis. Casey knows what's up. Casey knows what she's doing. All right. Let's get started. All right. Hey, why am I not there? What the heck? How did I become so invisible? Quite frankly, I feel like I've never looked better. Yeah, that's fun. Let's see, go back to here, see if this starts up. There we go. Oh, good. All it needed to do was wake up a piece of software that had suddenly gone to sleep on its very own. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Megaworldwide. I'm your host, Hal Sparks, and I will be Hal Sparksing the rest of the evening. Hit that like, share the show. Hi, chat room, you wonderful folks. Where are my sparklers at? Say hello. What's going on? I gotta say, the Hegseth Chronicles are getting funnier and dumber as the day goes on, and I mean, it's okay. Remember how yesterday, if you'll recall, I pulled out that footage of him from the Easter egg hunt, And there was that moment where he just broke. Remember where he had this kind of like moment where he's like, these people, you know, and you're like, oh, okay. He's caught some shit. He's getting bad phone calls. He's having to defend himself inside the White House. Like, you can tell. And, but it was just like a fleeting moment. And he managed to kind of like use his media training and his former on-the-ground expose work at Fox and Fiends to kind of wrestle back the narrative and just say fake news and run away and use his family as a human shield. Well, it turns out that he made a mistake of apparently someone handed him a shovel and said keep digging, and he bought into it by going on Fox and Friends. Where are you with? Whoops. Okay, hold on. Where are you guys? Hold on. Jump back to here. That's over there, which would be this here. All right. Well, I'll just comms whatever. There's a bunch of, I don't know why the videos from that page. I don't know what that is. All right. There's a bunch of stuff. I will fix that as I'm going. Let's go to here. Go to properties. Switch display to this and go to, I don't know, this one, and then that's me, and then back to there you go. Everything just needed to be like restarted. That's adorable. Okay, so he made the mistake. Hegseth, oh, adorable, made the mistake of going on Fox and Friends and hoping that his friend, I mean, he really went for the heavy hitters. And you could tell, I don't know, maybe you can't tell. Maybe I could tell. Maybe you're pretty sure you can tell at this point. That if things are going well, you get the Sean Hannity interview. If things are going well, you might even get the Steve Doocy interview on Fox and Fiends. If they're handing you off to Brian Kilmeade, folks, you've shit the bed. If you're hoping that Brian Kilmeade picks up the pieces, you're in deep shit. So, and he starts off the interview by calling him the former SecDef by accident. And that sets the tone for the whole thing. Now, I would think one of the things you would want in a Secretary of Defense is calm, cool, collected nature, you know, in the face of emergencies and battles and the worst kind of atrocities, man against humanity, man against his better self. On God's green earth, the deepest, most sinful nature of man is the heart of war. And you'd want people who are kind of in charge of that to just kind of almost be sort of clinically in control of their emotions, right? You would kind of want that? No, you're not going to get that. It's not... Well, let me show you. Here we go. Hit the like, by the way. Share the show. It annoys maggots. And super chats always welcome. Memberships on YouTube. And, of course, if you have Amazon Prime, you can be a member on Twitch, and it won't cost you a dime. And here we go, because woof.
Why do you have confidence?
Because he's doing a great job. Thanks, Chef. Ask the Houthis how he's doing.
The Houthis. Yes, the Houthis. And no question about the Blowfish is doing equally bad.
Happy with it. We have the highest recruitment numbers I think they've had in 28 years.
The everybody's happy with him part, not even close to true. Also, I'm surprised that Trump isn't taking credit for the recruitment numbers and is passing that off on Pete Hegseth. Because if anybody asks, like, do you think the recruitment numbers are up because of him or because of you? He'd totally go, because of me, of course. And then Pete would be in deeper shit, I guess.
No, he's doing a great job. It's just fake news.
Well, that was President Trump doubling down on his support for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
Here's seen in a quieter, more peaceful time. The first day, I think, of his actual, his first day on the job as SecDef.
4 hours ago, denying a New York Times report about sharing sensitive information on another Signal chat called Team Huddle. Here to set the record straight himself.
I don't know that he's denying it. I think he's been saying a lot of leakers gonna leak, which again, hashtag you can't leak a lie. Remember everybody, especially you guys on Substack, hashtag you can't leak a lie. You can't. It's either a lie or it's a leak. It can't be both.
The current Secretary of State, Pete Hegseth, former...
Well, yeah, that was the part where he's like, oops.
Here to set the record straight himself, the former Secretary, the current...
Former Secretary, the current Secretary, fuck. Sorry, and And Hegseth knows. He's been on segments with Dillweed before.
Secretary of State Pete Hegseth, former host right here on Fox and Friends. Pete,
hey,
great
Brian.
to see you, Mr. Secretary.
Great to see you.
So your thoughts on what's been reporting of Team Huddle and the Signal chat that the New York Times says took place between you, your wife, and your brother and some others?
So, Brian.
So what do you think is going to happen, kids? You think he's immediately going to go, that there is no Signal chat, this is all fake news? Or...
If you remember when this all started, the first go-around, because this is the second go-around, right?
No, it is not the second go-around. It's a second Signal chat. It's not the same one. We're not talking about the same Signal chat, fuckhead. We're talking about the second Signal chat, the one that there was nobody with clearance on, and apparently, like, your wife and your press agents and other folks. 14 fucking people. And none of them, insofar as we know, have a need to know about military strikes. So no, it's not the second go-around. It's strike fucking 3, if anybody's keeping score.
Old stuff, they kick it back up.
No, it's not old stuff. This is brand new. This is a new story. This is a new chat, new information. It's bad.
I said repeatedly, no one's texting war plans. You know why I said that? Because I'm in the bow.
Because you're a liar? Because you were lying and you're not under oath and you figured you can lie on a tarmac to a microphone or to Dillweed here and we'll just accept it? I'm thinking because you're a liar. I think because you're fucking lying.
Pentagon every single day. Just 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, that doesn't make us feel any better, stupid.
Looking at actual war plans of things that were ongoing or pending things to...
You will see them. They're right here on my fucking phone. Ah, God damn it.
Because that's on a regular basis on classified systems. That's my job for the war fighters, for the President of the United States. I look at war plans every single day.
Really? That's what you do? That's your whole job is looking at them? Why? So you can memorize them and type them into an unsecured chat later on? Well, look, okay, let's be abundantly clear. I'm very happy you're not having any input on these things. Maybe we should count our fucking blessings. Maybe it's bad enough you're looking at them. Thank God you're not like, I have to give my 2 cents, because in that case, I'd be like, shit, we're about to be invaded by Guam.
What was shared over Signal, then and now, however you characterize it, was informal, unclassified coordinations for media coordination and other...
No. No, it's not media coordination, or it would have come out in terms of the media. Why would the media, any of your sources of media, need to know about an attack before it happens? And I don't want to hear shit about anybody leaking. If you're coordinating military plans before they happen with people you know in the media, how is that good? That's fucked up. This is worse. Again, whoever handed him the shovel, thank you very much. We all owe you a debt of gratitude, because this fucking guy.
That's what I've said from the beginning.
That's because you've always been stupid and you'll never not be stupid. So
at the beginning, it was left-wing reporters from The Atlantic who got a hold of it and then
Sorry, they got a hold of it? They didn't get a hold of it until you put it in the fucking chat, dummy.
Wanted to create a problem for the president. This is what it's all about, trying to...
How, if it's just media coordination and you've said it from the beginning, how does that create a problem for the president? How does it? How could they create a problem for the president when they just, I guess, were they not on the list of media figures that you were coordinating with? You were giving, like, insider information to some reporters, but not to this one? Why would that create a problem for the president? Does he desperately want The Atlantic to announce where our airplanes are going 2 hours before they get there? You fucking tit.
President Trump and his agenda. Now, here at the Defense Department, because, Brian, I want this to be very clear.
Here it comes. It's clear. Write this down. Somebody get a frozen turd and some watercolor paper or whatever.
Take the classification of information. Mm-hmm. Very important.
All right. Yeah, sure. Look, I think it's great that we have a SecDef where English isn't his first language. I don't know what his first one is. I think it's drunk. I think it's alcohol. Say that again.
Clear. We take the classification of information. Very important.
Yes, we take the classification of misformation, which I think sounds like a squeezing together of misinformation, very important. We take it seriously, It's very important. Therefore, we take it seriously. No one takes anything important. That's not a thing. Also, misinformation sounds like you're a liar. It sounds like you're accidentally admitting to be a liar, that you're a liar. Let's run that by. Listen to that again.
Trying to get at President Trump and his agenda. Now, here at the Defense Department, because, Brian, I want this to be very clear.
Very clear. Here it comes. Clarity. You asked for it. You got it. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Clarity here. Here it comes.
We take the classification of information very important.
All right, that was clear. I don't think, look, you guys and your bullshit grammar police and your whole thing about consonants and vowels should be in the right order. Fuck you, okay? You just don't like clarity, okay? You're violating his free speech rights to take misinformation very important. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Pete Hegseth.
Oh, hello there.
Oh my fucking God. And this is, by the way, we're a minute and a half in.
Very significant to us that we safeguard it. And so when we had leaks, which we have had here.
Yeah, right out of the fucking gate, buddy.
We did a serious leak investigation. And through that leak investigation, unfortunately, we found some folks that we believe were not holding to the protocols that we hold dear here at the Defense Department.
They weren't, sorry, they were, you looked for leakers and then you found some people who weren't holding to the protocols. By the way, all of these people, Dan Caldwell, fucking Ulyat, all these people that you're talking about, you brought them. This isn't the fucking deep state. It ain't the swamp. These are your buddies. These fuckers didn't have the job they have that they just got fired from until you gave them that job. And then you had to fire them to cover your own ass.
Through that investigation, they have been moved on, and that investigation continues.
They have been moved on. They have been moved on. And we take misinformation very important. And they have been moved. They've been moved on. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna have to check that off. That's 3. Yeah, dude. If Trump is watching this right now, he's wincing. I'm just saying. This is kind of great. Misinformation, check. Moving on. All right. Yeah.
As a result of that, everything we do here is above board, trying to make sure that we safeguard information. In this point, those folks who were leaking, who have been pushed out of the building, are now attempting to leak and sabotage the president's agenda. And what?
Whoa, those are your bros, asshole. And again, were they not trying to sabotage it from within? And that means you brought saboteurs into the Defense Department? Into the Pentagon? Where there were none? Holy shit. Like, you do real, like, I don't understand how this fucker's like, we got him, I found him. Like, yeah, they were in your fucking, you had them on speed dial since 2006.
And that's unfortunate. It's not what...
Unfortunate. Yeah, unfortunately, the people I hired turned out to be the leakers, sort of, maybe, but maybe not. But also, my leaking shit doesn't matter. It's their stuff, right?
It's not how we operate. And so you've got another allegation being pushed.
Sorry, did they not leak their shit in Signal? Is that the difference? That you prefer to use Signal? What were they using? WhatsApp? Telegram?
And not based on how we're operating around here. We're for the warfighters. We're for the president. And none of this is based.
Douchebag, bro. Like, I don't know. At this point, somebody should just hand him, I don't know, a fucking bowling ball or a watermelon or a fucking, I don't know, some sort of Gallagher nonsense where he just comes out and goes, we're for the warfighters. A splash. Right? Okay. It's just have, like, I half expect someone from WWE to just go, what's going on? We're to go for the warfighters, buddy. Pete Hegseth, slump. This is, I don't know how you can bro your way out of this.
In reality.
So, Mr. Secretary, I guess I can conclude this. We know some bizarre situation with Michael Waltz happened with the first time the whole thing with the Signal app came out.
Sorry, some sort of bizarre thing? Some bizarre. Some bizarre thing.
based in reality.
So, Mr. Secretary, I guess I can conclude this. We know some bizarre situation with Michael Waltz happened with the first time the whole thing with the Signal app came out. You believe this came out, they said it was called Team Huddle, because one of the people who work for you, one of the three who no longer are there, leaked this out as a way to get back at you?
And why would why would you need to be, how could they get back at you by showing that you were doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, bro?
That's right, Brian.
That's right, Brian. These assholes I hired are the assholes I fired. And so, I mean, it's basically zeroed it out. You know what I mean? Like, if you can get rid of mistakes that quickly. Like, did you ever make a mistake? I mean, honestly.
Dismiss people who you believe are leaking classified information. And again, the investigation is ongoing, and that will take time. And when the evidence produced, it will go to DOJ. Why would it surprise anybody, Brian, if those very same people keep leaking?
Well, I know. If I may, in theory, why the fuck would they have access to things they can leak? You do realize, you do know the difference between leaking information and just talking shit, right? Like, that's why. They can't leak because they've lost their fucking access to information. Unless they're still on your goddamn Signal chat, you fucking moron. Oh my God, this guy is stupid.
Oh, hello there.
It's amazing.
Very same reporters, whatever information they think they can have to try to sabotage the agenda of the president or the secretary. So
what agenda would that be? These guys are all fucking MAGA.
Once a leaker, always a leaker.
All right, so they were leaking before this, then I guess. It's not a new habit they developed while they were working for you. So you hired a bunch of leakers, is what you're saying. I don't know. I take it back. I think it's working. I think this guy's good. He's good. Say what you will. It's good. It's good. It's great. It's excellent. Excellent. I think he's doing excellent.
Often a leaker. And so we looked for leakers because we take it very seriously.
Maybe look before if they leak. Man, I don't know. What are you basically like the depends of the truth at this point?
We will do the investigation, right. And if those people are exonerated, fantastic.
Fantastic. They won't get their job back because shit talking isn't leaking, but I'm a delicate little bitch, and therefore...
We don't think, based on what we understand, that it's going to be a good day for a number of those individuals because of what was found in the investigation. So if they want to keep leaking and pushing and peddling things that try to sabotage the president's agenda...
you mean the truth?
It's unfortunate. But
so the truth getting out, obviously, because you can't leak a lie, the truth getting out would sabotage Trump's agenda. Why would the truth sabotage his agenda? I mean, it's not like they're leaking war plans.
That's how leaking works in this town.
Ah, I see. All right, I was confused.
Focused on recruiting, on rooting out DEI, on securing our southwest border, on the president's agenda, and it's going very well.
Our southwest border? What? Okay, so we're fine with half of Texas now? Is that the idea?
And I'm proud of it.
Right. So the Signal app is what everyone uses. We're all finding that out now because of the Chinese have infected and sabotaged, gotten involved in almost every other communications.
Yeah, but not Signal.
Apparatus over the...
Yeah, they haven't gotten into the secure communications that the government uses, though, which he has access to and could be using, but he's a fucking asshole.
4 years. So that's where you're communicating. You say it took place, but there was no classified material in it. Over the last few days, your senior advisor, Dan Caldwell, Darren Selnick, Colin Carroll, who is your chief of staff, deputy secretary of defense.
Yeah. All DEI hires. Man, I couldn't even, if you put Jackie Robinson's picture up there, I wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. Like these guys, that's what happens when you just let, you know, the BIPOC community and stuff get jobs they're not qualified for. I mean, why does he look like, why does Dan look like, they got me, didn't they? Like the other two guys are like, I don't know, they got their pictures off of fucking LinkedIn, but Dan Caldwell's picture was taken when he was actually leaving the building.
Other one, Darren, is now former deputy chief of staff, were let go. Did you let them go?
Right. It was a result of an investigation ongoing at the Pentagon where we identified there was sufficient evidence, potentially, again, there's an investigation ongoing.
There's significant potentially evidence. All right.
Have to complete itself. Sufficient evidence to believe.
Yes, the investigation, I'm sure it will complete itself. That's what most of them do. I mean, they're like wind-up toys, these investigations. Holy shit. God damn this guy. I mean, we know he's dumb, but...
that they or others near them were party to leaking. And then I have a statutory responsibility, Brian. If I believe...
to not hire your douchebag bros to sensitive jobs?
The case... to ultimately ensure they no longer have access to that and that the
They no longer have access? Shit. It's good. It's good. It's good. Yeah. It is getting better. You're right. He's settled down. He's getting into a groove now.
Commences. There are a lot of ways to communicate in this building. I do it every day. I was just doing it this morning.
Yeah, puppet shows, Aldous lamps, semaphore, signal flares, clicks and whistles.
Channels by which we communicate classified information.
Yeah, and none of them have to be signal, you fucking moron. That's the point. That's the point. You have plenty of ways to discuss this shit that doesn't involve an insecure app that erases what has been said. Again, not good. This does not help. All right, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Not my business. Married not even a year and already this bastard has a girlfriend. I'm sorry.
Want to do it and do it the right way? You should. If we think you are leaking to the...
Wait a minute. Huh? If you what? If you can do it the right way? Wait.
I do it every day. I was just doing it this morning. Official channels by which we communicate classified information. If you want to do it and do it the right way, you should. If we think you are leaking to the press, that's a very real problem. We take...
Sorry, if you want to do it the right way, you should. Yes, you shouldn't be using Signal if you work in the fucking Pentagon. At all.
Very seriously at the Pentagon. I'm here to do one job.
No,
yeah. Tell everybody where our soldiers are going 2 hours before they get there. That seems to be the gig. 100%. You're not helping your case.
Job for the president and the American people. Secure the country. America first, peace through strength. I don't have time for leakers.
Then don't be one. What? You're the person. Seriously. Again, if none of these details about the attack plans on the Houthis had been in the Signal chat, it would have just been an embarrassing scandal of they're discussing, they're having group discussions in this chat room. You're the one who put details in there that made it criminal. Somebody has to have told him this.
Have time for the hoax press that peddles old stories from disgruntled...
It's a new story. It's a new story. I like the old story. It's not over yet because you haven't testified under oath anywhere and you seem completely fine bullshitting everyone, but you won't go under oath. Why is that? I mean, we could settle this, right? Shit, we could just get somebody, just I don't know, find a local courthouse and go, hey, I need to be deposed under oath, and I'm not even going to wait for the Congress to get around to it. Comer's a fuck up, and he's too busy chasing down Hunter Biden's scrot. So can I just do this on my own? We'll just tape the deposition. I'll go under oath for it. We'll have a judge sign off on it. And seal the deal on this right now. Or you could just go on fucking Fox and Friends and bullshit your way out of it.
Employees. We should be talking about the decimation of the Houthis, how we're pushing back the Chinese, how we have a new defense area at the...
Pushing back the Chinese? Are we? Is that, we're pushing back the Chinese militarily? You're in the Pentagon. This isn't about trade, so are you just releasing information about something we did? Did we attack China recently?
Instead, disgruntled former employees are peddling things to try to save their ass.
All right. First of all, you're about to become a disgruntled former employee at this rate. Just saying. And they are there. If the truth saves their ass, you're the one who's in trouble.
Did you?
And ultimately, that's it's not going to work.
Mr. Secretary, did you find this out, or did they come to you? Because I know you know these guys. Like, these are the guys you picked, especially. Well,
it's not unfortunate. You didn't trip and fall and pick these guys. It's not unfortunate. You chose them. It's a fuck up, is what it is. You didn't roll the dice and go, God damn it, not my buddies. They suck.
And they worked for you for your previous job before you got over to Fox.
Uh-huh.
And they said that they have not been asked to their phones. They weren't asked about communications. They didn't go through, they didn't take a polygraph. So why would they be let go and not be investigated?
Yeah, that's weird. You just gotta put, why would that be? Gosh, that's a good one. I'm gonna have to go with I know. They gave up polygraphs for Lent. No, that's not it. All right.
Brian, when there were a series of serious leaks at the Pentagon.
Yes, both of which we know of came from you.
There were Panama Canal plans, Elon Musk's visit, you name it, any number.
Right. There are no Panama Canal plans, per se. You increased the military down there, but there were no plans released. Just the buildup of troops, which, by the way, would be self-evident to anybody in the press if they just watched as people arrived. You can notice when soldiers are showing up. They don't come under the cover of night. It wasn't a big secret. And what was the other one? Shit, like, all of it's so stupid. I forgot already. Hold on.
Elon Musk's visit.
Oh yes, of course. Something that shouldn't have happened, and someone that wouldn't be a leak. That would be a whistleblower. Then I would just like to clarify that somebody blew the whistle on his visit to the Pentagon. That wasn't supposed. That was a bad thing, and that's even the president didn't want that to happen. So apparently these guys, these guys were whistleblowers, and you fired them without cause. Because and this whole bullshit about these guys are undermining the president, Trump apparently was pissed when he found out that Musk was going to get this briefing. So again, monkey wrench in his whole argument. Even Kilmeade, as stupid as he is figuring this out live.
Name it, any number of things, and there's 4, 5, 6, 7 things.
Right, yes. There's, at least according to you, 7 things that your bros you brought in have leaked to the press or to the public or to our enemies. Not necessarily in that order.
Enough is enough. We're gonna launch a leak investigation.
Yeah, Joe Casper did that. You're firing him too.
Which we did, which was then handed over to OSI, which is the special investigators here at DOD. Right. Through that investigation, information was surfaced, which created a response.
Information was surfaced. You mean information came to the surface? Because it sounds like information was surfaced, sounds like he did it on purpose to throw these guys to the wolves. I mean, again, these are minor Freudian slips, but they're very telling.
Ability to take action. That's how it works when you when you actually investigate leaks, Brian. So it's easy to say, oh, we asked everybody and everybody said they're good. Or you can take it seriously and say, we don't think leaks are okay at this time.
Well, then why aren't you stepping down, asshole, again?
So we're going to investigate. And when we investigate, we'll take it anywhere it leads. And unfortunately, Brian, to your point, and
it only went to the guys I hired. What the fuck? How does... I mean, look, everybody at Fox and Friends has to be standing, like, off camera going...
And if 1 or 2 of these guys is exonerated after an investigation, great. That's what investigations are for. But we took it seriously. It led to some unfortunate places, people I have known for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's not my job to protect them. It's my job to protect national security, the President of the United States.
Our national secrets, our battle plans.
And let the investigation go where it is. So when that evidence is gathered sufficiently, and this
Hi, Aaron. Congrats on your wrench.
happen very quickly, It will be handed over to DOJ, and those people will be prosecuted if necessary. The leakers know who they are, and we know over time the truth will be told.
You mean the truth will come out? I mean, I guess truth in air quotes, right?
We stand firm behind that. Leaking is not okay in national security policy.
Okay, so you're stepping down again.
We will stand behind that every day of the week.
It looks like Carroll and Selnick intend to sue for wrongful termination. And again, they didn't ask to take a polygraph test. Do you know Joe Casper? Is he still your chief of staff? Is he leaving?
So Joe Casper's the guy who did the investigation that apparently found these guys at the end of whatever this fucking rope is. Joe Casper is who he told to start the investigation, which they have referred to or will refer to at some point, the DOJ. Casper's being demoted.
Oh, Joe's a great guy. He's a great American.
Great.
He has done a fantastic job for us.
Yeah, amazing. The last, 5 weeks he's been here, fucking killing it. So he has to move on.
At the Defense Department, securing the southwest border.
You mean the southern border? All right.
Beachhead here at the Pentagon. He's staying with us, going to be in a slightly different role.
One without access to classified information, I guess?
But he's not going anywhere, certainly not fired.
Well, he is going somewhere. He's moving his office at the very least.
You make changes over time.
Right.
And
yeah, not this short a time, though. I think that's what you meant. Yeah.
We're grateful for everything Joe's done.
So, as you know, one of the people that left...
Yeah, we're grateful for what Joe has done. We're a little worried about what he might do. So
as he was...
we're giving him a no-show job to keep his mouth shut.
Fired, he let go. Other people said he was fired. John Hewlett, a former Pentagon spokesperson, decided to put this in Politico and say, here's a quote, "It's been a month of total chaos at the Pentagon, from leaks of sensitive operational plans to mass firings. The dysfunctional, now a major distraction for the president, deserves better from his senior leadership. President Donald Trump has a strong record on holding his top officials to account. Given that, it's hard to see Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth remaining in his role for much longer." You know him? I know.
Oh, yeah, totally. This guy is not MAGA, except he's more MAGA than Pete Hegseth is.
Let go. He had a great idea to get rid of Jackie Robinson, being sarcastic, from the Pentagon. Your thoughts about that statement?
Jackie Robinson worked at the Pentagon?
Anybody that knows John knows why we let him go. We did a lot of favors for John.
Because he's gay? Seems like that's why. Seems like that. I mean, maybe that's what he means. It's not why you let him go, obviously. And you didn't let him go. He left.
He did some good work up front. Then he...
Right. And then he didn't do good work in the back. All right.
Moved along and asked to move along. Now he's misrepresented a lot of things in the press. It's unfortunate. We did right by him. We tried to help. He's spinning it otherwise. It's too bad. It's politics, I guess.
Mr.
Yeah, it's just politics, you know. That's his picture from the Department of Veterans Affairs when he worked there under Trump, when he worked on the Trump campaign, when he worked on the second Trump campaign. Yeah. Totally. I mean, look, hands off to Antifa for slipping this guy in there. I don't know how you did it, but apparently until his cover was blown Friday, dude was just a little too convincing, actually. I don't think he actually did anything pro-Antifa. He was going to get to it eventually. He was just really still establishing his cover after 7 years.
Do you think you take this job, you come in with war experience and all your great background, do you think there's a lot of people who don't want you there, and there's some type of deep state forces that want to make...
Yes, the deep state forces that he brought with him.
You don't stay there.
They've come after me from day one, just like they've come after President Trump.
No, no, the deep state is not after you. The deep state didn't get Goldberg into the chat. The deep state didn't make you put classified information into that chat. The deep state didn't make you a douchey fuck-up who just goes on trips on the taxpayer's dime to go play soldier while he should be in charge of a giant bureaucracy. So no, it's not the deep state. And if there's a swamp at all, you brought it with you.
I've gotten a fraction of what President Trump got in that first term. What
President Trump? All right.
he's endured is superhuman.
Well, I mean, so are his crimes, I would say. They're subhuman, maybe.
Hard for me to do this job. I know exactly why I'm here.
Yeah, but you can't stop fucking up. I mean, look. I mean, you knew exactly why you were in a strip club in Louisiana. You just didn't realize that that didn't entail you getting so hammered they had to keep you from jumping up on the stage and attacking one of the strippers, I guess.
To bring war fighting and the war fighting ethos back to the Pentagon.
Yeah, that's what we were always worried about. That the Pentagon isn't. The Pentagon's like they became a bunch of fucking peaceniks. That's been the problem. These puffy, everybody. Well, it's all listen to what the flower people say. Jesus Christ.
Out the insidious ideologies and not compromise and not back down. To bring in new press voices into the Pentagon, which we.
You did. Olyat was somebody you brought in, and how did that work out?
To reestablish standards and accountability.
Oh, by the way, Olyat is the guy who did that. Olyat's the guy who brought in Breitbart and all these other groups. That was his addition to this.
Not tolerate leakers, to 100% operational control of our border, to get rid of trans lunacy in the military. We haven't backed down. See, here's the thing.
I don't know, you sound a little worried.
People come to Washington and they just play the game.
Yeah, they just do that. They just do, they just play, it's a game. That's what they're playing. And it's, I mean, I know it's a game. You know it's a game. It's a game. This is, I know that. Of course I know that. I mean, it's obviously not a game, but it is to some of these people. I know that. I've always known that. I know that that's a game. How can you not know that's a, unfortunately.
It's you punch their ticket and get along to go along. And
it's go along to get along. You don't get along to go along. You go along to get. It is good. It's good. It's good.
Start doing Meet the Press and going to the Council on Foreign Relations and spending time with all the new cocktail sipping crowd. That's
the new cocktail sipping crowd. Oh, you mean what Kilmeade and those guys do on the weekends in New York?
I'm here because President Trump asked me to bring warfighting back to the Pentagon.
Yeah, but not in the actual. You do realize, maybe that's it. You do realize he didn't want fighting in the Pentagon. He didn't want people at each other's throats. He didn't want conflict inside the Pentagon. Well, maybe he did. You know what? Fuck me. Maybe that's his whole point. He wanted to start a bunch of infighting. I mean, if you were Russia and you did tell Trump to do something, one of the things you might do is start a bunch of infighting at the Oh, yeah, okay, all right. Perhaps it was a perfect hire. I take it back.
Every single day, right. That is our focus. And if people don't like it, they can come after me.
Okay. I don't like it. I think you suck at this. So here I am. Hi, Pete. Fuck you. You're a danger to national security, a lush, and a dipshit. And even Brian Kilmeade knows you suck. And whatever the president's mission that he gave you, you managed to cock it up even worse than he could have if he did it himself. Good Lord.
No worries. I'm standing right here. The war fighters are behind us. Our enemies know they're on notice. Our allies know we're behind them. And
no, they don't.
That, in this dangerous world, for the American people, is what it's all about.
I've been on two.
I thought it was the hokey pokey. Wasn't it? That's what it's all about, right? The hokey pokey?
Over the last 2 months, they're overwhelmingly, anecdotally support for you. And they talked about recruiting.
Anecdotally.
So I asked for official numbers. They are through the roof. Take a look at these numbers with the Army, Air Force, and Marines. You are up 108% in November, 100.
They're not up 108%. They're up 8% over their goal. They set this goal, and they're of 1,478 Marines, and they got 1,470. So their goal was 1,200 or something, right? That would be the thing. 1,300, probably 1,300. The goal in the Army, 108% of the goal. So the goal was 9,000, 9,500, something like that. That's and then this is the late year goal and the beginning of the year goal. They've set these up 100%. They got just enough people for U.S. Air Force and 100.1% in Space Force. They're not up 100%. Weirdo. It's 100% of goal. Look, I understand. Kilmeade's dumb. Math not a high priority at Fox in general, especially when they ask Kilmeade to do it. But simmer.
15% in February, 108% after the election, 105% with the Navy, with the Marines up 112% and 100%.
No, they're not up 112%, you weirdo. It's 112% of goal. So 12% higher than the goal. Great. So say up 12%, you fucking moron.
They are through the roof. The U.S. Air Force.
Not through the roof. They're not through the roof. They got 148 people. They wanted 148 for, hold on, let me move this over so you guys can see it. Space Force needed 148 people. They got exactly 148 people. Well done. They needed 298 people, and they got 299. So 100.1% of goal. So cool. Also, how do we know that that's the big goal? Maybe it's a lesser goal. Maybe they really need 25, but they set the goal lower so it can look better.
100% of its goal. Same thing in February. And Space Force is also booming over 100%. I think the
easy 0.1% over 100.
Are happy to have a warfighter up top.
Yeah, a warfighter. That's what's happening. They have up top in the leadership. There is a warfighter going on.
Secretary, with all this controversy, everything swirling around, have you ever doubted your decision to take this job?
That sounds like a setup to me. I'm going to go with his. Of course not.
For a minute, I didn't hesitate when the president asked me, and I haven't.
Really? Asked to be Secretary of Defense, and yesterday you were a host on Fox and Friends on the weekend? I don't know. There's not a single host at Fox News that would pass up being sec def over that shithole.
Hesitated for a moment because.
Well, you should have. You should have. You should have hesitated. I think so. Looking back, retrospectively, dealing with your short time so far, you should have hesitated. You should have gone, am I up to the task? I may want it, but maybe I'm too much of a fuck up. Maybe I don't know anything about what it takes to run an organization of this size and complexity. And maybe I'm just a blathering Fox News dipshit and I would be way in over my head. Maybe that's the problem. You know what I mean? Because you kind of have to, I would say, question your qualifications. I think it's a lot better if you actually did hesitate. You go, yeah, I thought about the size of the organization and what it would entail, and I really worked, with my family and my staff to come up with a method where we could absolutely do the job better than anybody could ever do it. Like, that's how you do it. But the idea, like, nah, I was like, fuck, head the Pentagon? Who gives a shit? Super fucking easy.
Man's got to know his limitations.
Mm-hmm. These numbers are a reflection of why we're here. We call it the Trump bump internally. The reality is when war fighting and lethality is brought back and it's serious, that what we're doing here is serious about getting after soldiering and war fighting, American people want to come back in. They want to sign up. These recruiting.
Yes, all 148 of the people who wanted to be in Space Force in November. Mm-hmm.
Don't surprise me. They don't surprise me one bit.
They don't surprise him at all.
Reflection of a yearning from the American public, of young people, to be proud of their country, to be proud of their military, to make sure.
Real quick, have any of these new recruits been asked about how they would feel if their attack plans were leaked before they left the base by the SecDef? Let's say it was Rumsfeld. Let's say it was anybody else. How they would feel about that? The same people that are like, that signed up because they thought, warfighter ethos. How would they feel to find out that their superiors leaked their position before, just to brag to family and friends?
When they serve, they're given everything they need. That's why I've fought for the.
Well, obviously, except operational security, they weren't given that, Or if they returned like our soldiers from Lithuania, the dignity of having the president not golf and show up, that would be a possibility as well.
That the Defense Department requires. And the president has said we'll have our first $1 trillion budget.
Because cutting, we're spending too much money. I agree.
Kids. My 14-year-old If he joins, he's going to have a great military. He's going to have peace through strength because of the historic investments of this president. So, no, I haven't blinked, and I won't blink.
Well, that's a sign of a psychopath, isn't it? They don't blink.
Because this job is too big and too important for the American people, and I'm grateful for every...
Sorry, it's what? This job is what?
Because this job is too big and too important for the American people, and I'm grateful for every opportunity the president has given me.
And
I'm sorry. So you're outsourcing this to a foreigner? Is the idea? This job is too big for the American people? Okay.
Grateful to see the Hegseth army on the Easter egg roll yesterday.
The Hegseth, I agree. It's true. You mean his children? Yeah.
Drop. They are ready to go. Mr. Secretary, thanks so much for your time today, and best of luck. The world is not an easy place to control, and you're trying to...
It does sound like now you put it in those terms, it does sound like a big job, Brian. The world is not an easy place to control. I don't know. I'll have to get back on you. I think it is. I think it probably is. If you're real, I mean, of all the things you could control, like a bucket of rattlesnakes or, I don't know, a bathtub full of beetles. The world should be pretty easy comparatively, I would think, to control. You just want to throw that in at the end so that all these assholes who are clamoring about the deep state and a cabal that runs the world, just to make the top of their heads pop off?
Appreciate it. I'm Steve
Doocy, and I wouldn't go anywhere near that fucking interview. Holy shit, what a dum-dum. I gotta say, chat room, not good. Not happening. Now, real quick before we move on to another topic, Megyn Kelly had on Steve Bannon. It is truly Beauty and the Beast on her show to talk about the infighting that's going on at the center of the Pentagon. Well, here's what it says. You're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwide, by the way. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up for the show. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks, and also become a member. Lovely. And thank you for the super chats today. You guys are wonderful. All right, here we go. Also, if you're watching these videos later, there's a super thanks thing, I think, that happens. Doesn't that work? I don't know. Here we go. All right.
Back, what do you make of all this?
Well, having worked in the Pentagon after they came off.
No BS, no agenda, no fear. Okay. How do you have no agenda? None? You don't have a purpose? You're just fucking flying by the seat of your pants? You just no ethics whatsoever? No plan for that? You just do the show as it falls out of your fucking face, and morally you're just all over the map? Is that the idea? Also, no BS, simmer down. And no fear? What, are you kidding me?
Duty back the first day the president.
I mean, maybe she just means that she doesn't work at Fox anymore, so she doesn't have to worry about being, sexually harassed by her superiors. Maybe just her guests and her staff.
I was there for, 3.5, almost 4 years. There's one thing about controlling that building, and another thing about being President Trump's senior national security advisor for the military. I think this goes back. And I think Caldwell, people got to watch that Tucker interview. Oh,
yeah. So Dan Caldwell went on Tucker Carlson show. I don't know if they play a clip from it, but Tucker was all in on this Caldwell guy. Like they were on the same team. They're, end the forever wars on that side of Trump world. And that means that they're anti-Pete right now. And apparently Bannon's on their side as well. And it might be an anti-Musk thing, too.
There's some deep and disturbing truths in that. I think the leaks and all this stuff they're wanting us to chase rabbits here.
Who's they, motherfucker? Again, these are unforced errors. Hegseth did this shit to himself.
This, to me, gets down to... You said Republican on Republican, Megan. I think it's almost even deeper than this. This is about the America First national security policy and about how we've been a neoliberal neocon country for 40 or 50 years. This gets down to, I believe, this whole strategy in the Middle East and people like Caldwell who came from the Koch's defense priority, which essentially also made Pete and transformed Pete. And years ago, they were looking to do that, transform him.
They transformed Pete Hegseth into what? A neocon?
From a Fox News host to someone who could go into senior levels of national security by giving him some of these veterans groups and others that would promote him.
Oh, you mean the guy that he worked with that he just had to fire?
Over and above just a media figure. I think it shouldn't be.
He is not over and above just a media figure. He's barely qualified to do that.
Anybody that this comes up, and I say this with total respect for Tucker, who I respect, and I consider.
Apparently, there's a lot of respect there.
A friend and a colleague. Our show and our part of the MAGA base, we're quite, or at least 2/3 of our audience, 80%, are very pro-Israel in the defense, but we're very anti any type of military conflict with Persia about these nuclear.
Persia, great. So he's not using the Iran at all. He says Persia all the time, by the way, and this has a lot to do with the American Persians. The former Iranians, people who fled to the United States, and his languaging about that. It's so weird that he just doesn't say Iran, he says Persia.
I think this comes down to a fundamental break between the defense priority guys and the Koch organization, which is much more isolationist, much more bring it all home, versus people who are engaged, want to understand we have to be engaged in the world. We have to have a national security policy, even around hemispheric defense, that is forward-leaning, but we don't want to lead with military. We want to lead with economic warfare and others. And I think that's where this rift is. It shouldn't be lost in your story, which I thought was a brilliant overview of this and bringing in all the elements. Bibi Netanyahu has come here twice in the last 4 or 5 weeks. One time, President Trump literally blew up the conversation with Trump Gaza, which kind of came out of nowhere. And
like most of his thoughts, yeah.
And because Bibi was here.
By the way, great job, Uncommitted. Trump Gaza.
Pitch the United States being an active part of a military support for at least an air assault, maybe even a ground assault into Persia to take down their nuclear.
To take down Circes like it's fucking 300? You mean Iran, right?
Facilities, which would be catastrophic from a military view if you know what the damage assessment would be. He came back, under the headline of tariffs, but he was here to make a second pitch because President Trump did not engage the first time. And President Trump basically told him in front of the world, hey, by the way, we're starting negotiations one-on-one with no participation of Israel with the Persians starting next week in Oman. And now it's going to continue again in Rome.
With the fucking Persians. Okay, never mind. So this is them having to deal with the fact that they've caught the dog has caught the car, and it doesn't know whether it wants to shake it to death or go skitching. Let me give you another example. That's a little taste of the Megyn Kelly thing. But in this, let me see if I can open this. Okay, here we go. Remember Trish Regan? We looked at some of her shit yesterday, day before maybe. Okay, she used to be on Fox News on Fox Business. She's now off on her own, just like Megyn Kelly. And she jumps into this. She goes, Hegseth exposes Pentagon leaks. I guess that's a great way of saying he's the actual leaker. Fights Lib Media's hit job. CBS producer out, Rubio cuts jobs. Okay, so this is what she eventually gets to. We're not going to do all this. This is her whole show. But at the top end of this, she, again, using big tech devices, many of which were assembled in China, along with everything on her back wall, is going to tell us all about and I think she may even play clips of that Tucker Carlson interview. And I want you to watch her try to make this work. All these fuckers are just trying to shoehorn this square peg into a round hole as best they can, because there's no way to make it look good. This is all turd polishing all the time.
Here, this is Trish Regan Show. Welcome to the program. We've got all kinds of crazy stuff going on at the Pentagon these days. Hegseth firing back as he tries to hang on to his job here, saying that you got all these leakers and they're doing all kinds of crazy things. Well, now
all kinds of crazy things. You mean the guys he hired?
Those alleged leakers are actually coming forward, and it's getting a little bit stranger than fiction because they're like, no, we're not the ones leaking. No, this is actually some of the deep state folks that are trying to turn us all against each other. So,
sorry. So, if I'm following you, Pete Hegseth is doing the work of the deep state by firing true patriots who are being made to look like leakers by the fuck me.
Wrinkle in this story, plus top 60 Minutes news producer out at CBS. Apparently, if you want to believe the New York Times, he quit. Maybe because of Trump. We'll get into all of that. Plus, Marco Rubio going nuclear on the State Department right now, slashing jobs every which way from here to Sunday. Basically, 700 D.C. positions are out, some 130 domestic bureaus that operated on behalf of the State Department are also going to be wiped out. It all comes as the Democrats
skip.
California government.
All right, get back. I want to get
in the water.
Here you go.
Accused of leaking here by one Pete Hegseth as we get report after report after
I think there's only one.
report. It's like the media is just circling the wagons here. They smell blood.
Okay, circling the wagons means to protect themselves. That you don't circle the wagons to attack. You circle the wagons to protect. That's what that phrase means. Dummy. It would be Hegseth and his staff or something, or Trump and Hegseth circling the wagons.
They're like sharks in the water. This is the latest.
That's the exact opposite of circling the wagons. Yep, just saying.
It's out of NPR, so take that for what it's worth, right? Exclusive, they write. They got like one source. The White House is looking to replace Pete Hegseth as
yes, their one source was Trump talking loudly in a dining hall at Mar-a-Lago.
Secretary. This came out yesterday, early evening. I don't know as I buy it only because it is NPR and I think it's wishful thinking on NPR's behalf. And also because the way this whole thing sort of went down.
On their part, not on their behalf. I'm sorry. I'm very nitpicky with these phrases, but it seems like they don't understand colloquialisms at all. Like they're incapable of saying them correctly. It makes them all sound like Russians posing as Americans on a show like The Americans or something like that. Yes, as the great philosopher Ozzy Osbourne always am saying, he who laughs last is just a hand in the bush. Yes.
The New York Times coming forward with their story about how he didn't just have one signal chat, he apparently had two signal chats. And all I would say is, heck, maybe there's 3 signal chats or 4 signal chats. I don't know, but
yeah, that wouldn't be good. You do realize that, right? That wouldn't be a positive.
It kind of feels like we've been there, done that, right? But they
No, it would get worse every time, stupid.
Up really, really, really big story in the New York Times on Sunday. And then you had none other than Politico come forward with this huge op-ed written by somebody who was the head of PR at the Pentagon.
Who's the head of PR? It made all the banner ads and stuff on the website and took care of all their bus ads and billboards.
John Oliot, forgive me if I'm messing up his name. And he's saying, I love the guy, I love Pete, but he needs to understand that there's a lot of bad stuff going down, and he's probably not going to be able to stay in the gig. He writes, and again, he's a former chief Pentagon spokesperson. And
yeah, so, obviously those people lie a lot.
Lead communications at the NSC, formerly in the Department of Veteran Affairs, during President Donald Trump's first term. He resigned from the Pentagon last week.
Oh, and by the way, Twitch, let's try and get a hype train going. I think you can do it. We haven't had one in a long time. We've gotten to a level 2 in the last couple of days. We should get to level 3 as best we can. I think it can happen.
He was the senior communications advisor on the Trump 20...
Radical left lunatic in Substack says there's probably dozens of group chats. Yes, and every one worse than the last.
campaign. He wrote, "It's been a month of total chaos at the Pentagon, from leaks of sensitive operational plans to mass firings. The dysfunction is now a major distraction for the president, who deserves better from his senior leadership." Ooh, I get the sense already, right? Nobody likes each other over there. President Donald Trump has a strong record of holding his top officials to account. Given that it's hard to see Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth remaining in his role for much longer. And so he goes, and then you look, he talks about Dan Caldwell, how he fired his 3 loyal senior staffers, including one advisor, Dan Caldwell, Deputy Chief of Staff, Darren Selnick, and also Colin Carroll.
You know, deep state actors, sure, yeah.
Of
the swamp we've all been warned about.
To the Deputy Defense Secretary. In the aftermath, Defense Department officials working for Hegseth tried to smear the aides anonymously. 2 reporters claiming they were fired for leaking sensitive information as part of an investigative order that went down earlier in this month. Now, that was interesting to me.
It is interesting. I agree. Totally, Trish. Totally interesting. I was like, when I read it, I was like, interesting. And that was pretty much it.
As we alluded to some of those allegations. They were out there in the Daily Mail, et cetera, and there were these allegations that somehow these were the guys that were leaking, which is sort of wild, right? When your own team that's right around you, you can't even trust your.
Yeah, that does. Trish, you might be onto something. I can see why Fox Business hired and fired you. That's one of the sticking points. Sure.
Staff or your deputy chief of staff, that's not a very good thing. And so clearly, if that was going down, he needed to clean that up. But apparently, that's not really entirely what went down. So all these guys are sort of ganging up together, and they're saying, hey, this guy's got his thing out in Politico. I just temper this by the reality that Politico is the one that published that 51X spooks letter. Remember all the 51X spooks that had to...
Yeah, they were right about the laptop contents being unverifiable nonsense and Russian disinfo campaign, which is why it's been, fucking almost 100 days, and Kash fucking Patel can't release the Hunter Biden laptop, which doesn't exist. Feel free to at me.
Hunter Biden's laptop was not real.
Sorry, whose laptop? The laptop that doesn't exist?
Misinformation fed to you courtesy of Rudy Giuliani and the Russians. Yeah, the Politico that gets millions of dollars in USAID money.
Not this dummy on Substack or on Instagram says, Substack, sorry. Why does she sound so nasally? I'm going to go with allergies. Probably got a cat. Probably shoots this at home. And sometimes it just catches up with you. That's me giving the benefit of the doubt. Or somebody in the studio has a cat, or she films in the same studio that Newsmax uses, which is a garage in San Diego, I think.
Maybe has a direct link into the Defense Department. That Politico is the one that chose to publish this piece by the guy who's no longer working there because, he thinks it's a giant SHIT show. Former top Pentagon spokesperson details month from hell, right? Anyway, that's
hilarious.
Definitely some liberal bias, shall we say, at MBO.
Why? Based on what? If there was a liberal bias, wouldn't there be a little bit of like, the White House is looking to replace dipshit Pete Hegseth? And then, it's a liberal bias. It's not full on liberal, so they'd have it in air quotes. Like they draw the little bunny fuck yous.
There's definitely some liberal bias over there at the New York Times, and there's
according to Trish. So just in case you're like, this isn't something she's saying, it is written, and therefore it is true.
Some liberal bias.
Sorry, real quick. I gotta add something now. It's gonna annoy me, and I'm sorry. We're gonna have to absolutely take a moment in this chat room. Speak amongst yourself. I just feel like I have a responsibility, right, to do this. Just so so we can push back on these kind of things. And yes, continue there. Allow. There we go. Go to here. There we go. And then go back to here. And then I'm going to need something along the lines of, this will work. We go create a design, and then I need a, let's see, Chiron, lower third. Yeah. Let's do something along these lines. I don't need that. I just need lower third, you weirdo. Guess I'm gonna have to. Really, you don't have anything. Okay, I don't want to create it as that. Maybe that's it. Okay, I'll just go into a video landscape and just do it in there, and then I'll do a. Let's see, text, and let's put this in here. How do I do this? Add a text box, and I'll go whatever to Trish Regan is a dipshit. That'll work. Okay. Whoops, I misspelled Trish. Sorry, Trish. I'm working on it for you. Talk amongst yourselves, everybody. I'm doing a little homework live on the air. I feel like I owe it to Trish. Okay, we're gonna need to embolden those letters. That'll work. And then I need a red frame or something around it. That'll work. Elements. Let's see. Rectangle, I guess. Rectangle. Let's see. Graphics. Trying to do. Yeah, this will work. How about this? Let me try this thing like that, and then this thing like that, and then do a option. Take this. Whatever. Control option there. There we go. Oh no, that's terrible. Working on it. Okay. Why would this not? I'll just do it like that. Okay, that'll work. Take this out. Take this out. There we go. And we'll take this and we'll get rid of that. And then I guess I just make it a. Let's see. Share. Okay, and this needs to be green, I guess. So I can make this. Okay. It'll be worth it in the end, I think. Okay. Share. Download. And I'll just do a still. JPEG. And this thing. And then here we go. And then. Okay, and then we go back to here. And then I'll just have to make this kind of on the fly. And just save it in there. I don't need it that often. Just put it in the pictures file. That'll be fine. Let me take this over here. And just, you know, I'm just trying to be a professional about this. And I didn't realize the rules were so easy that all you had to do was write something and it becomes magically fucking true. And so, yeah, we'll take this little guy right here. And we'll pop this over here. And it should go in there. Where'd it go? Where are you? Is it in here? Hold on. There we go. Now, let's see. I'll do a filter on that and turn it into, let's see, chroma key. Excellent. Take that out of there. Excellent. Close. Drag this down here. And then, yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, I guess this is as official as the liberal bias part of it here. Oh, sorry. I have to, for the folks over there at Substack, I've got to add it to the vertical sources. Give me 1 second. So that would be in the images. Trish Regan is a dipshit. There we go. We'll just add that right there. And so now, that's great. Now it's official, and it's no longer just my opinion. It's just true. I had no idea. Maybe that's why they didn't want people to be able to, you know, have their own copy of the Bible, or people to be, you know, literate and able to read and write, because you could just magically do stuff like this. You know, what's up, D. Marie? You know, doing my thing. But apparently, it's, I guess, what is this called? Wishcraft? At this point? All right. Well, sorry. We'll leave that up there for the time being as Trish continues. I'll move this down here so we can see any kind of the tomfoolery she's messing around with, and put it behind my head so it doesn't get in my way. And same thing here. Whoops. Same thing here. So that, yeah, there we go. Yeah. There you go. Now I can reach over it and it doesn't. Yeah, this is great. I mean, I had no idea it was so easy. Thanks, Trish. I should probably put Hal and then a colon there, right? But well, next time, you know, you can't expect me to do everything. It is official to call.
So I say you've got to take this all with a grain of salt, but I'll tell you what.
Yes, yes, we take this Chiron with a grain of salt because this Chiron is fact. Right.
Pete's not backing down. He's basically out there swinging, and he's complaining about these guys.
Yeah, he's a big fan of swinging. You should ask his third wife.
You know what? They're all leakers, and that's all they're ever going to do. Hear him just today, moments ago or earlier this morning on Fox.
When you dismiss people who you believe are leaking classified information, and again, the investigation is ongoing and that will take time, and when the evidence produced, it will go to DOJ, why would it surprise anybody, Brian, if those very same people keep leaking?
Well, again, because how would they, if they've been fired, how would they have access to the stuff that they would leak? Or are you so stupid you think that shit talking is leaking? Or that the stuff they're saying about you being a fuck up is so true it qualifies as a leak?
The very same reporters, whatever information they think they can have to try to sabotage the agenda of the president or the secretary. So once a leaker, always a leaker, often a leaker. And so we looked for leakers because we...
Allegedly, I guess, because, again, you haven't busted these guys.
Very seriously. And we will do the investigation. Right. And if those people are exonerated, fantastic.
Fantastic. They're still fired, and they'll still be persona non grata, and Trump doesn't want to ever see them around here again. But fantastic. So if they, by the way, if they were fired and they're that close to you and they turn out not to be the leaker, it looks like you fired them to cover your own ass. So I guess it goes back to you, yes?
I think, based on what we understand, that it's going to be a good day for a number of those individuals because of what was found in the investigation. So if they want to keep leaking and pushing and peddling things that try to sabotage the president's agenda, that's unfortunate. But that's how leaking works in this town. We're focused on recruiting, on rooting out DEI.
We saw this before.
Through the bureaucracy, and the question in who is part of this bureaucracy, who's trying to take him down? I think in
besides the people that he brought in himself,
estimate, it's the very same people that are out there speaking, again, listening to him blast these media reports.
You remember when this all started, the first go around, because this is the second go around, right?
We watched his bullshit. Blah 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 blah. I want to get to the...
And he's liked him for some time a lot. Pete has been a very loyal person to the president and the president's agenda. And so that's all fine and well. But what the heck is going on behind the scenes? Because on the one hand, you get...
a drunk asshole philandering prick from Fox News hired a bunch of douchebag bros and they fucked up like you could predict they would fuck up. I'm just spitballing.
Saying exactly what he said there on Fox. And then let's look at this new wrinkle in the story, a new wrinkle coming forward as Dan Caldwell speaks out. This is
the new wrinkle, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the new wrinkle, which is unfortunately Trish's show title, and she's not a fan.
Guy that used to work for Pete, one of them, all the inner circle folks are getting fired. And
what the hell? By him?
Inner circle guy, Dan Caldwell, went on to Tucker's podcast, Tucker Carlson, who used to...
Yeah, of all the other Tuckers. Sorry, thanks for clarifying.
Fox, actually opposite me, 8 p.m. I was at the Redheaded Stepchild Network on Fox Business, but a good time slot nonetheless. Anyway, Tucker had him on his podcast, and I want to play you a clip of this.
Yeah, let's see it. Let's see. That's Dan Caldwell, the guy that Tucker had on after Pete Hegseth fired him. Yeah.
Dan Caldwell is saying, "Look, I'm not the guy you want. Like I'm a total distraction. I am not one of the people that is trying to take this whole thing down."
Meanwhile, Hegseth doesn't give a fuck, and apparently will throw anyone under the bus, even his best friends.
Trust me, like. They didn't do anything that they should have done if they were really going to try and go after me. Let's look at Dan Caldwell.
What he means is take his phones and take his electronic devices and make him take a polygraph.
With Tucker's like, man, they want you, like your head on a silver platter.
Yeah, and by they I mean people, the deep state at the Pentagon, not the trucker I fucked in that bathroom at the edge of town that I told my wife was a demon that scratched my arms up.
And I'm thinking, having spent my life in D.C., I was like, Dan Caldwell's got a target on his back that I don't know if he knows that.
Yeah.
Nothing says sane like going back and forth from a low end to doing stuff like this and then going back to it. Yeah, like that.
And then I read all of a sudden that you're a traitor. You're like marched out of the Pentagon.
And I was like, oh, a traitor, someone who's been marched out of the Pentagon, book him. What could possibly be better? I mean, this is his idea of the perfect guest.
I like wood.
You know what I mean?
Deeper and longer.
Right.
For leaking, right?
Yes.
I like wood.
For leaking.
And then the whispering campaign, the character assassination campaign begins, and here's...
Yes. Who started it besides Pete Hegseth?
Well, I don't want to upset you. You may not even be aware of this.
But Pete Hegseth is calling you a traitor and a liar and a leaker, and Trump is backing him up. So there's this whisper campaign. And by whisper, I mean the President of the United States and the Secretary of Defense are shit-talking you on live television and effectively calling you a traitor.
Dan Caldwell leaked classified information to liberal media outlets, to the media, to NBC News, for example.
I'm going to just pop in and...
Yeah, please do, Trish, because we were all... I was about to, grasp my pearls, honestly.
That's exactly what was being put out there, whether you want to call it a whisper campaign, whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a whisper campaign. They said it to multiple news outlets on Easter Sunday in a loud voice that you could hear over the fucking Peter Cottontail music that's playing in the background.
But somebody was feeding that story because we were...
Yes, somebody. I don't know who it was. It was there was like this old orange fucking weird looking dude with like an oversized tie talking to multiple reporters on Sunday.
Reporting on the allegations as they had been referenced in none other than Daily Mail. So someone was trying to do that. I've maintained all along, look, you deserve your own team. But the scary thing is this was his own team.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. You know, Trish, I don't know how happy they're going to be with you kind of pointing this out. It's hard to be on Trump's side and Tucker's side at the same time, even though they both have the same handlers. Odd. So it's almost as if they don't care about the reality of the situation. They just like the chaos.
I'm going to be totally direct with you. Did you leak classified information against the wishes of your superiors to...
Sorry, can you leak classified information on orders from your superiors? Wow, there's some legalese in this fucking question, wouldn't you say? And it's not, you don't think Tucker knows what he's doing? Let's see what the answer is. Did you leak classified information against the orders of your superiors? So if you did leak it, what you're saying is they told you to.
This was his own team. Back to Tucker.
So I just want to be totally direct with you. Did you leak classified information against the wishes of your superiors to media outlets?
Absolutely not.
Did you photograph classified material and then text pictures of that material to an NBC News reporter?
Or a Fox News reporter. Oh, sorry, don't answer that. Or Newsmax. Or sorry, don't answer that. Or to me, never mind.
Absolutely not. And I have not spoken to an NBC reporter while at the Pentagon.
So what about when you were not on Pentagon grounds? Did you talk to them afterwards and you didn't send the pictures? You just showed them the pictures that were on your phones? A lot of legal wiggle room here. I'm just saying.
The point is, you know what? I didn't do this. I didn't do... By the way, he goes on to say...
I don't know that was the point, Trish. I don't know. Chat room, what do you think? I don't know that was the point. Because the question seemed so specific so as to guarantee the right answer. Right? Did you leak classified information to media outlets against the orders of your superior? So, no, they told me to. And, they told me to leak this stuff to them would be the other answer. But no, not against the orders of my superior. And then the second one was what? That did you take pictures and text them to an NBC reporter? No. How about a Newsmax or an OAN or a Fox News reporter? Or did you not text them to that person, but you just showed them to them on your phone when you were outside Pentagon headquarters? A lot of fucking wiggle room in this shit. Anyways, I think Caldwell says one more thing in this interview.
You do these things. I'd be in a heck of a lot of trouble. I mean, think about the trouble you would be in because you're leaking classified information.
I know, against the order of your superiors. Now, obviously, if you're told to leak that by your superiors and your firing is fake and you're going to be paid by the Heritage Foundation to, play part in a faux scam to undermine, I don't know, to make the government more isolationist, and so you're part of that, their own kind of version of a deep state ploy. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's why you might need these specific questions asked so narrowly.
Sending it to this, that, and the other. You can't actually do that. He did say in this interview, and I encourage you to take a look at it, that perhaps the leaks were coming from the people that wanted to stand in the way of the agenda that is that of President Donald Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Secretary Hegseth, foreign policy.
Well, then why are you getting fired?
And that's his concern, right? Sometimes.
That's what he says his concern is. Now I don't know who to believe.
That I feel like it hasn't fully set in because this all feels like a dream. It's like, when am I going to wake up? It's been awful. I mean, the impact on my family, it's been devastating, and it's caused a lot of stress to my family.
Yeah, but Hegseth doesn't care. You're a leaker. You're always going to be a leaker, and fuck you.
I've been a friend and supporter of Pete Hegseth for a long time.
Yeah, well, you lie down with dogs.
I'm just personally devastated by this. It's just awful and whatnot.
And whatnot. Were they interviewing George Wallace?
End of the day, putting all this aside, Pete Hegseth needs to be successful as Secretary of Defense, and the entire Department of Defense cannot continue to be consumed by chaos.
Well, yeah, I think I see a contradiction there. Obviously.
It is chaos that is really the problem there. Now,
yeah, there wasn't chaos before Pete Hegseth showed up, I would like to say, for the record.
Doesn't bode well for Pete, let me just say. Right? When you've got somebody who's like, I love the guy, I didn't deserve this, I didn't have anything to do with this, and the president deserves better. That's 2 people that have now come out. The first guy being the one I showed you in, his bad choice of a publication going with Politico, but we won't totally hold it against him for now.
Maybe Fox News wouldn't publish it on their website. Maybe the right-wing media turned him down.
Anyway, this is the guy that wrote the Politico.
Because of transparency.
Op-ed, and he's saying the same thing, right? That it's total chaos, that it's been a month of total hell, and that President Trump is not going to be able to leave Pete in that job for that reason. But you got to go back to just exactly who's involved and what they're trying to do. I mean, if you were trying to root out the leakers, weren't you going to do all those things you said you were going to do? Apparently,
I know.
According to Dan Caldwell, they didn't do any of them.
Huh, that's weird. I don't know where I'm getting this idea, but I'm just sort of gathering a picture of Pete Hegseth being a complete fuck up, and in that way being the perfect choice by Donald Trump. But you do realize, first of all, that the rest of the world knows this. It's fun to watch these people come to this realization while the rest of us are like, yeah, and exactly. Why is it taking so? It's like watching the fucking peanut butter dickhead guys figure out that, maybe the Epstein files aren't coming out because Trump's in them. Really? That's just dawning on you now.
Sitting here right now, there are a lot of unknowns about this. As a former Secretary of Defense would say, there's a lot of unknown unknowns. There are some things that are pretty clear, but we have no idea what specifically we're being investigated
for.
So
we can know some things just by the details. So here are a couple. Have you been...
Yeah, there we go.
Draft.
No, I've never been hooked up to a polygraph machine since I've been in the Department of Defense.
All right. By the way, what? How do you get clearance without being polygraphed? Beyond the question whether this asshole has leaked anything or done anything, isn't that protocol for a high-level job? Wouldn't you go? I always thought you had to pass a polygraph along with the background check shit, or they just thrown that out the window. They've just blown it all off. Now it just doesn't matter anymore. Is that what we're talking about? Hold on. I know I have. Yeah.
That was just bullshit, Joel.
You're allowed to just get a job at the Pentagon without taking a polygraph at all? It's bad enough that he didn't get one after they thought he was a leaker and they were going to fire him because of it. So He could at least volunteer to take one or not take one. They'd have an excuse, but they never even brought it up.
Have you given up your private communications devices, your private phone, your phone?
No.
To anybody?
No.
Okay.
Of course not. They'll discover all the other signal groups that Pete Hegseth has.
So that raises the obvious question. I'm trying not to
Uh-huh.
the F word here because the lying is just driving me insane. You're being accused of leaking classified information, but the people accusing you would have no way of knowing whether you did that or not.
Who's the people what people are you talking about? Oh, Pete Hegseth, right, and Donald Trump.
They haven't polygraphed you or taken your devices, your private devices, correct?
I mean, there are.
You can't even make the allegation because there's no conceivable way you can prove that. Let me just say there's so. But just back to your story, and I won't linger on it. Every time I mention this, your jaw tightens. I can feel your frustration.
Ew. It's a little awkward, don't you think?
I like wood, deeper and longer. And I should just say point blank.
Frustrated you.
Well, I'm completely convinced that this is nonsense and sinister nonsense.
Sinister nonsense. I mean, honestly, if Woodward is looking for the next title of his book about this current Trump administration, I would say Sinister Nonsense is a great title. I mean, Tucker's a fucking poet in this case. Like, Sinister Nonsense sums up the entirety of the I mean, that might as well be called the Trump doctrine at this point. Sinister Nonsense.
But if you were the subject of an investigation, a leak investigation, if the investigators had determined that you were leaking classified information to the news media,
he's getting close.
You wouldn't have continued to receive access to classified information, correct?
Correct, and I probably would be sitting here today.
You'd be in jail, dude. You would have been handcuffed, correct?
Yeah, he's totally right. I mean,
yeah, he's totally right. He's totally right. So obviously, Pete Hegseth is a fucking liar. Then I guess, right? I mean, I don't know, Trish. I don't know what other. I mean, granted, if you're a dipshit, you won't come to the same conclusion that I would. But you know, and again, it may be a material fact that you're a dipshit, but it's, you know, colloquially we can assume that you might have a broken clock moment once in a while. And in this particular case, the liar in this case that they are describing is Pete Hegseth.
Gets us back to just exactly what is going down.
Hegseth. I'm going to go with Hegseth is going down.
Why would Pete Hegseth be firing the closest people around him?
Oh, it's so close to it. It's so close. It's just like when the peanut butter dickhead guys are like, Epstein files. Why wouldn't Trump release all of them? You're so close, lady. You're so fucking close.
Unless, like, they've really gaslit him.
What? Could that be possible? Like, oh,
and I
dear.
think that that's a little bit of a warning. What Tucker and Dan Caldwell are communicating to the public there, that's a little bit of a warning.
Sure, don't work for Pete Hegseth because he'll throw you under the fucking bus and he's a lying drunkard.
In other words, if these are the people that are closest to Pete, and he's getting rid of them because they're trying to pursue an agenda that he likewise wanted to pursue on behalf of the President of the United States, and they're somehow the problem. And they're gaslighting Pete to say, you got to get rid of these people. And then they're saying, oh, you know, the leakers are the problem. And when they go on TV and when they go on podcasts and when they write articles in Politico, they are still the problem. The question becomes, does Pete entirely know? I mean, these are intel ops, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I'm going to float something right now, and it's that he's completely in over his head, and he's inadequate to the job and intellectually incapable of even comprehending the density of the issues that he would have to do in that particular job. And he's really just a showboating bro-sexual prick from Fox News. Or there's a giant deep state plot, and he's been hit with a Jewish space laser that makes you think your best friends are the enemy and something.
Dealing with, right? Like they might be the masterminds of sorts. I'm tempted, dare I say.
Oh yes, yes. What? Yes.
Believe my inner circle. I'd like to believe that the people I have hired and that I'm working with that allegedly purport to value the same things I do, that the president does. I'd like to believe them first, but
Yeah, especially if you hired them and you gave them sensitive jobs. Yeah, that might, even just to protect your own ego.
Whatever reason, they're the first ones getting fired.
Huh.
When you dismiss people who you believe are leaking classified information, and again, the investigation is ongoing and that will take time, and when the evidence produced, it will go to DOJ, why would it surprise anybody, Brian, if those very same people keep leaking to the very same reporters whatever information they think they can have to try to sabotage the agenda of the president or the secretary? So
okay, so
yeah, it's a rough one, isn't it, Trish? You're having a hard time. This is happening all over right-wing media. Fucking Glenn didn't even show up today. Pat Gray hosted his fucking show for the first hour so he could avoid talking about this.
he's convinced. It sounds like to me that these guys were actually the problem. These guys, on the other hand, are saying, no. We're not the problem.
Right.
There's kind of a deep state neocon problem going on, and it's
I don't know. Doesn't seem like they're saying there's a deep state neocon thing. It seems to be that he's the fuck up, and there are leaks happening all over the place, and they were fired because he's I don't know, he overreacts and he's dumb.
They really have a lot of money at stake, and they want things to go the way they've always gone, and so they got to get rid of people they believe that are close to Pete, trying to push for the president's agenda.
And Pete is too stupid to spot that, so he's the perfect guy to head the goddamn Pentagon.
He may not know that yet. I don't know.
Oh my God, I can't with this fucking lady. How the fuck? How are they this dumb? How does this even? Do they speak deep state? Yeah. Honest to God, how do you keep running interference for this asshole? It's bizarre. And again, they're so fucking close to it. They're so fucking close to oh, wait a minute. Maybe this guy sucks. Jesus Christ. Can I, real quick, it's gonna drive me crazy. Can we go to the 5 for a minute? Well, hold on. Let me see if I can do this, because I'm gonna be, I'm just gonna be aggravated. I know I'm gonna be aggravated. I know. Jesus. Republicans love to be lied to. I think so. Let's see. This is Inside Texas. Rare access. Yeah, there we go. There was a piece I was looking at earlier today that I want to share with you guys because it's so fucking on the nose. By the way, hit the like, share the show, etc., etc., etc. Also, this Friday, Patreon, we love you. There will be a comedy show at Flappers that I will be doing live, and we will be streaming it to you guys. I'm hoping to be able to stream it to YouTube members as well. I wish I could do both at the same time. I think that's possible, but it's annoying. I can't. If I have to do one or the other, I might just have to send a message to members and let them know what the unlisted channel is, something like that. We'll figure it out, Andrea. I would like to start being able to do that for both sets of folks. But there have been just a ton of, where is it? I've got to scroll back. I want to show you guys. Yeah, here it is.
When you go to...
So I went on, this is the hour 1. Yeah, this is today. Hour 1 on Glenn Beck's show. And I was like, I wonder if he's going to cover this. Because he's been avoiding this shit like fucking crazy. And I was like, I even did a search where I was like, Glenn Beck, Hegseth, and then did, the YouTube search for upload date to see what's the most recent thing he said about him. There's not a fucking video that they have posted about Hegseth that's younger than 3 months. They have not talked about this issue in a separate video, or in a segment that they have released since he was confirmed. Yay, sweet Mel, thank you. Also, meethook.live/not is the Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We're doing that this weekend. I am filming my piece tomorrow and Thursday and turning it in. And we're all doing 5 minutes, and it's going to be a blast, and I'm very excited about this. I will be wearing a tuxedo, which is terrific. I haven't decided whether I'm going to go like long thin tie tuxedo or full bow tie. I do have a bow tie, and I do know how to.
Hey, well,
whoops, shut up. I do.
So this has
Hold on. So I first heard this. I'll get this in a second. I do have a bow tie, and I know how to tie it. God damn it. Back up here. So how long before Pete is found under a park bench swelling woolite? Excellent. Everything you want to know about sex, but we're afraid to ask. Reference there, Chris Doug. Putting on the rich. It's going to be good. It'll be a good time. And then I'm doing a pre-interview for it, and our dear friend Tara Dublin is going to be doing all that stuff. It's very exciting. So, and I want that to be an ongoing thing. And I still think, Fugelsang and I and Frangela going on the road doing the We Told You show in red states and in comedy clubs all around the place. I mean, come on. So here's what happened. So I tune in. I'm like, I got to see how these fuckers are dealing with this because it's bad. This Pete Hegseth shit is terrible. It's terrible politics. It's idiotic, and it's like I said, all turd polishing all the fucking time. And so I tune into I search this out and I can't find it, and I tune in to Glenn Beck's show this morning. I'm like, there's Glenn and Stu or whatever, and I just assume it's him. And then I'm like, well, Glenn's got a bit of a bald spot there. So I was like, that's new or something. And he's not wearing a hat or any kind of a cowboy thing. And the voice sounds pretty close. But...
Hey, welcome to it. So this has been...
And it's Pat Gray filling in for him. So rather than talk about this shit, rather than deal with the Hegseth thing... I guess, he comes on later in the show after the Hegseth stuff, right? There he is. They play the footage from there. And then I want to say at the tail end of the hour or something, or they announce him. Yeah, he doesn't make the whole first hour. He's in a clip from today. Glenn Beck is hosting his show, whatever. And, I should probably, Trish Regan still is a dipshit, but, Anyways, so this is I want to hear what they have to say about this particular storyline of it. So we'll see if they actually have the ability to even do it.
A big a tradition, I guess, in D.C. with the White House since Rutherford B. Hayes. Do you know?
All right. Yeah.
B. Hayes.
Now, did Rutherford?
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Okay. And they go through that, and then. Okay. Yes, This is a pagan sex ritual, just saying. The rabbit, the eggs, the chocolate. Is this all festival of Ishtar? This is the last time to have a baby before the winter comes. If you want to have the baby before winter arrives, this is the last date you would have sex back then. So in Roman times and around the time, they would have different festivals, but they would all be around this time of the year, and they were all fertility holidays. Hence, what do rabbits do? What eggs? What happens with the egg? It gets to make eggs, and then chick comes out of it or whatever, and chocolate makes you feel like you're in love and stuff. It's the original date rape drug. It's like, I only have sex with people I'm in love with. Have more chocolate. Actually, you know what? I might be in love with you. See where I'm going with this. So the Festival of Ishtar, or the Easter Festival, is a pagan sex holiday. I'm just saying. All the cute stuff with kids and rabbits and stuff is all secondary. Like, it even makes you think, I want to have a kid. One of the reasons you get all the kids around is because it will convince people like, oh, you know what? I want to have a kid. This is great. This is wonderful. That's the other reason you have a child event, because people in relationships, they see a bunch of kids around. They're like, I'd like to have one. That's what these are for. It has nothing to do with Christ or him dying on the cross, any of that stuff. This particular date, when it happens, is all about pagan sex rituals. I'm just telling you. All right, so.
The ground.
They do this or whatever.
You do eat eggs.
All right, this is food and something, and they talk about this. And then they eventually, I suppose.
Because they killed 100 million chickens.
All right, whatever. Let's get to the whole where the Pete Hegseth stuff is. Because that's got to be, they do an ad, I'm guessing. And then they ask about here.
Just a waste of time.
All right, here we go.
Everybody's happy with dead people, and that's what.
Salon too. So he seems to be sticking by Pete Hegseth. He's very loyal to people that are loyal to him. Yeah, you're totally safe, Pete.
You can keep embarrassing him as long as you keep sucking up.
Hegseth was accosted on the White House lawn, too. Here's what he said about the leakers. Cut 9.
Do you have anything you want to say, sir, about the signal chat controversy?
You know, what a big surprise that a bunch of...
We saw this shit, too.
This is important work with me.
By the way, this is them covering for him as well. This is like, play his whole thing don't take a slice of it. The more they play of this, the more they think it's bullshit. Just saying, on all of these shows. That's why it's the whole goddamn clip.
To be leaving the Trump cabinet, and they do have Pete Hegseth at the top, 46% chance.
Oh, wow.
Howard Lutnick is second, 18%. Scott Bessent, 8%. Marco Rubio, 5%. Pam Bondi, 4%. And on down. I mean, it's interesting because I think Trump, when these things happen, if he feels like he looks, weak or giving in to the media pressure, it's like less likely for him to.
Yeah.
Even if he didn't like Pete Hegseth,
he'll get his back
keep
up
him around
and he'll
for a while.
fight.
I think he does like Pete, though.
I think so.
I think it would be something that would be. It'd have to be something that really pushed him over the edge to want to push Pete out.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a third signal chat with classified information that could get our soldiers killed. That's what it is. Third time's the charm, right? Right, Stu?
Yeah, unless, Hegseth just decided to resign. I don't see... I mean, this new wave of like, oh, he was also on another signal chat. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Like, I don't know. I just don't think that's going to move the American...
Yeah, you don't? You don't think... Here's the idea, too. It ain't about polls, dummy. At some point, and this might shock everyone at the Blaze, but there are elements of right and wrong in this. It's just fucking bad. It's wrong. It's dangerous. You can get our soldiers killed. End of fucking story. And that used to, at least the right used to pretend to think that had meaning.
People in some big way.
Doesn't seem to be so far. All right. 888-727-BEC.
Jesus, get on with yourself. And then and then ads. And then they do this shit. Right.
And welcome to it. So this has been a big a tradition, I guess, in D.C. with.
Oh wait, hold on. Did it jump back to the beginning of this shit? Wait, there we go.
Really?
You can make new ones.
Where are you getting that?
Yeah, no, it's true.
Huh.
Yeah, it's science, Pat.
Because I thought with what Chris see.
That's a fascinating. It's so bizarre, and one thing you could also do is have sensible environmental policies, so you don't burn down all of your forests.
All right. Again, they just skipped it. That's it. That's all they're doing. I mean, if you want to know anything about this, look at how everybody is just cut. It's all fucking CYA all the time. Good Lord. Also, let me see. There we go. Yeah. They don't want to talk about any of it. And like I said, I want to see, let's see if I can find this from earlier. But like Glenn just ditches out on that part of the show. And, you guys don't need to see him. And that's not the important part. The important part is really, you could tell how serious this is. Yeah, let's see if I can find it. By how much they don't want to talk about it. Nope. There he is. Nope. Yeah, they're just all avoiding it all the time. By the way, Glenn's in Pito. But they can make a scandal out of a Democrat with zero evidence. Well, that's exactly it, Marison. This is okay, hold on. From an hour ago, Trump...
Well, thank you very much.
Trump took questions in the Oval. This is largely, again, him turd polishing himself. He's still got the World Cup trophy on a little table to that side, like with pictures behind him, and then there's a giant portrait of Reagan.
Today we're very thrilled to swear in the new chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Paul Atkins. He's a fantastic man.
Oh, he's already doing the mouth spit thing. He's already tired. His Adderall's starting to wear off, or it was just too hard a dose.
And with great experience.
Yeah, it's CSL. You noticed that too? Like, CSL, We love Can't Stop Lying. Give it up for our beloved Can't Stop Lying in the chat room. I watch so much of this stuff that it's hard to find things I haven't already seen for me to deal with on the show, so that we're experiencing it raw, you and I together. And so, but usually I'll see half the stuff that's out there, and he'll find stuff that I haven't seen maybe, and then I'll pick from those things. Just so that, I'm not setting things up so that I automatically know what they're going to say. Just so because I feel like that's dunking, and it's avoiding the ability to address the issue as it comes up naturally. And, but all over the goddamn place, these guys are avoiding this conversation or trying to talk it down as a non-story, which is definitely a talking point they have gotten from DC. They have definitely, White House Communications has called the Tim Drools of the world and all these folks and told them, you don't really have to explain it. Just say it's a non-story and move on. Just pretend it's nothing and it's just the deep state, legacy media, blah, blah, blah. Like, just say something along those lines and pretend it's a nothing story. And they're all doing that. Or if they know that their own viewers will call bullshit on that, they just avoid it entirely. They take a sick day. Or they're magically on fucking vacation.
But he's, above all, he's very smart. Congratulations to Paul, his wife, Sarah, and his entire family who are with us today. Thank you very much, and congratulations. Great job. That's great, Sarah.
Great job being sworn in.
We're also grateful.
Nobody does the job better than the guy who hasn't done the job yet. Ask Pete Hegseth.
Joined by our Secretary of the Treasury, who's doing it's the easiest job. I think it's probably the easiest job right now in government, would you say? Companies are coming out of the countries, are coming from all over. They want to just sign. We're doing okay.
No, they don't. Or they would you'd have these fucking signing ceremonies like these guys who are going to invest money in the economy. Where are they? None of them are around. All of them are pissed. Everyone is hanging up on you. It's gibberish.
You're doing really well. Thank you very much. Scott's going to be doing the swearing in. No one in America is more highly qualified to lead the SEC in this exciting time than Paul. He's devoted his entire life to the cause of free, clear, pro-growth, and pro-innovation securities markets.
Yeah, by the way, he was the head of the U.S., he was head of the Security and Exchange Commission, leading up to 2008. And he's a big crypto dude. Fuck. This is going to drop the fucking stock market another 1,000 points.
After graduating very, very high in his class, I will tell you, Vanderbilt University School of Law, Paul began a distinguished career practicing securities law in New York City before joining the staff of the SEC.
New York City?
In the 1990s. In 2002, Paul was appointed as the commissioner of the SEC, a commissioner.
In 2002?
And rode that to a fare thee well. He was so respected. He was a role which he promoted economic freedom.
What? Wait. Hold on. He rode that to a fare thee well? What? What does that mean?
Well, he was so respected. He rode that to a fare thee well. He was so respected. He
rode that to a fare thee well. Ew! He rode that to a fare thee well. Well, mater, I'll be in the drawing room playing the grand piano. Oh, he rode that to a fare thee well, did he? Ew! That is, you know what I like? He talks just like us. His words am broken in different order than speak good. Know what I mean?
Which he promoted economic freedom and represented the agency at the U.S.-EU Transatlantic Economic Council. Highly respected.
You mean all the guys who made the deals that you're shitting on right now?
Economic Forum and the Transatlantic Business Dialogue. After completing his term in 2008, Paul began a successful consulting practice and continued to advocate for a common sense approach.
To advocate? Advocate.
To securities regulation, extremely complicated stuff, and he put a lot of common sense and
God damn, the fucking saliva. Shit, dude. Like, this is what happens when he does too much speed. He gets all, like, lateral lispy and crunchy when he talks. Gets all
into it without heavy-handed bureaucracy and
also, just in case, I feel like we owe you that anyways, because please, if you're sensitive to his nut, you might want to leave the room or listen to this in podcast form. I don't know.
Harming of investors and workers and consumers and, frankly, our country itself.
Frankly.
Paul has also been a leader in the emerging crypto and blockchain industries and served as co-chair of the Digital Chamber's Token
So this is Don Jr.'s idea?
He's the perfect man to lead this agency at a time when crypto innovators are urgently in need of, and they want so badly, they want it to happen.
Yeah, they do want it to happen. What? What to happen, dummy?
Regulatory certainty and clear rules of the road, in addition to helping build this new framework that will allow the United States to maintain its financial and technological dominance long into the future. Paul will...
I don't know how much I can listen to this, guys. Is it just me? It's fucking nails on a chalkboard. It's just kind of talking like...
the weaponization of the SEC and stop the lawless enforcement practices that occurred during the Biden administration.
The lawless enforcement? Okay.
They were vicious people. They were vicious and horrible for our country.
Were they? Towards those poor crypto people.
Paul is passionate about protecting American liberty and American economic leadership, and we are truly grateful and honored that he has answered the call of public service as he always has. He's a man that...
Yeah, he's worked in government a lot. He's a guy who's been in this job before, and you're bringing back a deep state actor, I think you would call him.
We were looking for the right person for this very important job, and just he was at the top of everyone's list.
Because you didn't have a list, and everybody else was like, please get somebody who's done this before. Please get somebody who's done this before. Please just get somebody who's done this before. Fuck me.
So, Paul, I want to congratulate you and your family. You have an incredible family, and you have an incredible father and husband. I can say that, I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. If I'm not, please speak up now. So thank you very much, Sarah.
What? Is that, is that his wife, or are you just assuming?
Thank you very much. And I'll ask Scott to come up, do the swearing in. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right, and they swear the guy in, and he reads the thing, and he doesn't. Okay, there we go.
Your trust and
he gives a speech, and who cares?
Family, fitting to honor them. And
okay, crypto and fucking human trafficking, and at least the people who are into human trafficking will have a slave coin that they can use, and then some other shit, and then Trump would come in, and then they ask him questions.
Hegseth, who has suggested that the current standoff with China is not sustainable.
We're doing fine with China. We're doing fine with almost every country. Everybody wants to have involvement with the United States. As you know, we were losing
involvement. Does that count as like calling you and saying, what the fuck, dude, and hanging up? Is that technically involvement?
$5 billion a day during the Biden administration, during that last year, was a horror show, what they were doing on trade. $5 billion a day. And now we have it down to a very low number because we're getting 25% from the automobile industry, from autos. We're getting 25% for steel, 25% for aluminum.
Yeah, Americans are paying that.
We're getting the baseline of 10%. And think of it, we're losing almost $2 trillion on trade. And those days are gone. We're not going to do that again.
Yeah, we're just not going to trade with people, I guess.
Let that happen. We're being ripped off by almost, I don't say every, but very close to every country, everywhere in the world, just being ripped off left and right.
Obviously, you don't mean the Saudis or the Russians or China I mean, they're your buddies, so.
You had no leadership. You had people that didn't know what they were doing. And we're going to turn the...
Well, they didn't crash the fucking economy. I will say that. It was annoyingly strong. Just ask Jerome Powell.
And, you know, we have a very nice phrase, make America great again. That's what we're going to do. And it's going to start...
There's no timetable on that, is there? Are you going to make it great again by making it suck and then dying? Is that the idea? Is that you'll just pass away and like, see, I did it. I made it suck, and then I made it great again by vapor locking.
Trade. We're doing really well. I see the stock market was up nicely, but this is a transition.
No. You don't get to, again, you don't get to dig a 6-foot hole when you're 6 feet tall, stand in it, put on a hat, and go, I'm 6'5".
Period. And it's going to be a little while. But we are doing well with...
A little while. Yeah, hang in there, you broke motherfuckers.
Free country. Ultimately, we have something they want. And you have to view it that way. We have something they want, and they want very badly.
What do you mean, our, like, private information? That's what Elon Musk is selling them?
And, you know, it's going to be...
A copy of the P-tape? What do they want?
Coming in, they're taking treasure. They're taking jobs when they do that. And they have to pay.
We have almost... full employment. We have had for quite some time.
They don't have to pay if they come in and create their own jobs. You know, if they do their product here, if they...
Ooh, what kind of products are we talking about? Flashlights largely?
Product or make their product in the United States. We have absolutely no tariffs, and we welcome people.
No, you pay taxes then. You pay the tariff effectively because you pay tax inside the country. If they make it outside the country, then the consumer pays the tariff, and I guess that's the balancing act, right? Why move it here and pay tax when you could keep making it overseas and the American people pay the tariff?
We're taking in a lot of money from tariffs.
From Americans, yeah.
And our country is getting stronger all the time because the was not sustainable.
Started with China.
Are you going to play hardball with them? Are you going to mention COVID?
Well, I'm not going to say. No, I'm not going to mention COVID. I'm not going to say.
Why not?
I'm going to play hardball with China. I'm going to play hardball with you, President Xi. No. We're going to be very nice. They're going to be very nice. And we'll see what happens. But ultimately, they have to make a deal because otherwise...
So you are going to play hardball. If they have to make a deal, that sounds like hardball.
Going to be able to deal in the United States. And we want them involved. But they have to, and other countries have to make a deal. And if they don't make a deal, we'll set the deal.
Sounds like hardball. Yeah, sounds like the dumb version of hardball, I will admit.
We're the ones that set the deal. Scott and Howard and myself and others. We're going to be...
And others.
...setting the deal. And it'll be a fair deal for everybody. And it'll be... I think it's a process that's going to go pretty quickly. We've spoken to many, many countries. And we're getting...
Yes, they've all said no.
Views on things. You know, there are a lot of things. They have VAT taxes. They have everything you can have.
No.
Forget, as an example, the European Union was set up to take advantage of the United States.
Not really, no.
That's why it was set. And
no. That wasn't the goal of the EU.
They've done that, but they're not doing that anymore. Yeah.
I think it was largely because they just had a bunch of different currencies and it was a pain in the ass.
Will you prevent Hamas from having any role in governing a post-war Gaza? And will Hamas have to be permanently eradicated for a ceasefire to be reached?
Well, we're not going to let Hamas do that, and we're going to see what...
Do what?
...happens with Gaza. But we've made a lot of progress in the Middle East. Tremendous. Should have never happened. That date, that very special date, October 7th, should have never happened. It would have never happened if...
Yeah, we should have. I agree. In the calendar every year, it should go straight from the 6th to the 8th. I think that's been a mistake ever since the Gregorian monks were fucking around. What's all this February leap year bullshit? Why don't you just take a piece out of... It would make Halloween come quicker.
President, but we'll be stopping that whole situation. Yeah, please.
We'll be stopping that whole situation. All right. Well, I was worried that he wouldn't have an actual answer, but they will be stopping the whole situation. So consider it, as good as stopped 2 weeks from now.
Earlier today, Treasury Secretary Hegseth suggested that with tariff rates as high as they are now, it's effectively an embargo of trade between the United States and China. Do you see it that way?
That's true. 145% is very high, and it won't be that high. It's not going to be that high. It got up to there. We were talking about fentanyl, where, various elements built it up to 145. No, it won't be anywhere near that high.
And what level do you think it'll come down to if you haven't?
It'll come down substantially, but it won't be zero. It used to be zero.
It wasn't zero.
Just destroyed. China was taking us for a ride, and just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
The ride isn't going to happen? Like the other thing that wasn't happening in Hamas, that can't happen, and it's not going to happen, and then it won't happen? Also, can I just say, why don't you just get rid of their most favored nation status and call it a day? You could get rid of a lot of the unfairness in how they can ship things into the country and that kind of stuff just by doing that, right?
Very good to China. I have a great relationship with President Xi, but
yeah, that's what worries us.
They would make billions and billions and billions of dollars.
And billions, also billions.
Here, and they would build their military out of the United States and what they made, so that won't happen. But they're going to do very well, and I think they're going to be happy, and I think we're going to live together very happily and ideally work together. So I think it's going to work out very well. But no, it's at 145%. It will not be anywhere near that number.
Why not? Why? What if they never bend and they just keep theirs?
On the work that your team is doing on the border, are you happy with the rate of deportations right now?
Oh, it's amazing what they've done on the borders. Thank you for the question, because honestly, it's one of the great successes. We have virtually nobody coming in illegally. We do have people.
Yeah, well, there's no work.
Coming in legally because we want people to come in, but we have nobody.
No, the tourism is way down. But people are not legally coming in either.
Coming in through the border virtually. We were having hundreds of thousands of people a month come in under Biden. And they came in from prisons, they came in from mental institutions, they came in from gangs in Venezuela and other countries all over the world, not just South America. They were emptying their prisons into the United States.
Yeah, so they airdropped them or had a water slide or they would use catapults to just chucking them in. It was like it was like Con Air meets a Carney festival.
Venezuela emptied its prisons out, but many countries emptied their prisons into the Congo, as an example, in Africa, emptied their prisons into the United States. And
right, so the America is full of Congolese mental patients and murderers. He does know this isn't a thing, right?
We're getting them out, and
I'm beginning to think he's believing his own lie at this point. Like he knew it was bullshit before, and now he's not so sure. He heard it somewhere out of his own fucking mouth.
Operation from the courts, because we have thousands of people that are ready to go out, and you can't have a trial for all of these people. It wasn't meant. The system wasn't meant, and we don't think there's anything that says that. Look, we are getting some very bad people, killers, murderers, drug dealers, really bad people, the mentally ill, the mentally insane.
Yeah, it's a very big difference.
They emptied out insane asylums into our country. We're getting them out, and a judge can't.
Wouldn't those guys be the easy ones to find? They're just roaming around, screaming at the sky, walking around with a piece of wood with a bunch of nails in it. I don't know, screaming that they're going to, that the bugs are crawling all over them?
No, you have to have a trial. The trial's going to take 2 years, and no, we're going to have a very dangerous country if we're not allowed to do what we're entitled to do. And I won an election based on the fact that we get them out, and we've done an amazing job. Look, we've stopped. Everybody admits, even the radical left, we have got the strongest border we've ever had.
Yeah, but you're not getting anywhere near the number of people out of the country you said. especially because you're just not rejecting people straight at the border, which are the vast majority of people who are deported every year, are people who come across the border illegally and are immediately punted. So you're not getting rid of it. There's no fucking mass deportation happening at all.
Even stronger than what I had it for 4 years. We had a great border. We solved the problem.
Thanks, COVID.
But it's actually...
Yeah, nothing like a pestilence to drive people away.
It's a tad stronger, which is, I don't know.
A tad.
It's disappointing or not to me. I beat my own record. But I appreciate the question. Thank you, Daniel.
He's getting an ass-kissing question.
Well, thank you, Daniel. The question is about prices. The prices are going down, not going...
Nope.
One of the big things is energy is going down. I see that we had a couple of states where gasoline was at $1.98 a gallon. Nobody thought they'd see that for years, maybe. And that's a big thing. And we opened up...
What, Texas and Alaska?
We opened up our drilling. We have more product now for sale.
No, we don't.
We're also going to be selling outside of the country to a large extent. It's going to bring down our deficits, largely going to bring down our deficits.
You know, we don't have nationalized oil. He knows that, right?
But if you remember my first week, I was standing here, Paul, and they were screaming about eggs. The cost of eggs have gone through the roof. They were up like 500, crazy, like 4 or 5 times. And we won't have eggs for Easter, they were saying. There will be no eggs. You can't order eggs. They wanted us to order plastic in the shape of eggs.
Did they? Is that they were yelling? People were in the White House yelling at you. We have to order plastic in the shape of eggs. You heard this. Is Harvey in the room with you right now?
Yesterday we had 48,000 people at the Easter hunt. They call it the Easter roll.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, the Easter hunt or the roll, yeah, or the Easter celebration, or the rolling hunt.
White House, and we had all eggs, and as you know, the cost of eggs has come down like 94%.
No, it is not.
Took office, and they're pretty much normally priced now. Great job, our
pretty much.
Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, did a very good job. But
hold on 1 second, if I might. Yeah, let's see. All right, whoops. Allow news. Here's a there we go. Let's see. Chick sales see boost from rising egg prices. Do I have a guy? I guess the gardeners are here. Yeah. Oh, okay, I'm over time. Shit, I didn't even realize. Let's see. Shoppers react to rising egg prices. Yeah. What was the shoppers react? Yeah, at 90%. They're reacting to them rising at a negative rate. Okay, fake news. Let's see. Did it go? This is the thing here. Is this an
Where
ad?
will you find
Everyone
your
loves the thing.
Grabbing hold as it
ad
sails by.
campaign and thing. I can skip the ad in 9
During
seconds.
a summer full of wonder, an adventure under the stars, memories and moments connecting
YMCA?
the near and far.
Really, a YMCA ad? All right.
When you find your spark, you find your why.
Sarasota, Florida. Egg prices remain at record highs across the country as millions
This
celebrate the
summer
Easter
season,
holiday.
find
Egg
your
prices
why
just shot
for
up.
a better us.
Shoppers here at the grocery store today have found prices are skyrocketing. It's making them make some difficult decisions on this Easter Sunday.
You don't say.
It makes no sense, dude. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like on Easter they should shoot a little discount.
Nicholas Gibson and
They
John
should shoot a little
James
discount,
Glenn
bro.
came to the store to get some eggs for their Easter dessert when they got struck with sticker shock.
The eggs, they're shot up. I don't know. best protein. It's like superhuman food, and now it's expensive.
But it's not just
Bro.
shoppers feeling the squeeze.
Demand is high right now.
Aaron Drucker manages Blumenberry.
Really? Does that happen around fucking Easter?
A local subscription-based farm in Sarasota County.
Our production is not high to begin with, so most of it sells. But right now, any eggs we have are all sold. And I could probably sell a lot more than we produce.
Drucker says his...
And now I think that'd be a problem, actually. I don't want to nitpick, but I'm fairly certain it's hard to sell something you don't actually have. Usually.
Subscription model has kept his prices stable, but the wider market has not been so lucky.
I've heard that supply has been affected. Obviously, prices have gone up. Our prices remain the same.
And shoppers say it's not just eggs.
I got some butter and mayonnaise and snacks. Just spent like $20.
And I also spoke to a few customers who didn't feel as comfortable on camera, and they said that the prices are just as bad for them. In fact, one of them, when I mentioned grocery prices, actually just said to me, "Oh, it's really hard out here."
Oh, he did? Did he like make a big like physical like that gesture? Yeah. What was that? Sorry, this dude was saying something. This old fart was saying something about grocery prices are too low right now.
Groceries have come down. It's all coming down. The only thing that hasn't come down but hasn't gone up much are interest rates, and we think the Fed should lower the rate. We think...
Yeah, in case anybody needs to take out a loan to buy some fucking eggs.
It's a perfect time to lower the rate.
No, it's not. No, it's a terrible time. Thanks to you. The tariffs will raise prices. That increases inflation. Grocery prices are going up. That increases inflation. Inflation is one of their mandates. So no, it's a terrible time for them to lower interest rates.
Would like to see our chairman be early or on time as opposed to late. Late's not good.
Mr. President, you've said...
I don't want to talk about that because I have no intention of firing him.
Mr. President.
Yeah, because every time you bring it up, the fucking stock market takes a hit and everybody's told you don't say that.
Reports that you're considering doing something for moms across the country, giving them some type of bonus whenever they have a child. Are you considering that? Or are you
Sounds like a good idea to me. Yeah, please.
So to clarify, you have no intention of firing Jerome Powell because your economic advisor Kevin Hassett a few days ago said that you and people in the White House were studying this idea of possibly doing before his term ends.
No.
Do you have any plans on doing it?
None whatsoever. Never did.
Yeah, now that he realized somebody told him Besant more than likely that if he brings it up, it tanks the market.
Press runs away with things. No, I have no intention of firing him. I would like to see him be a little more active in terms of his idea to lower interest rates. This is a perfect time.
It's not his idea. It's a terrible time.
Lower interest rates. If he doesn't, is it the end? No, it's not. But it would be good timing. It could have taken place earlier. But no, I have no intention to fire him.
Last time you talked
Anymore.
Comment on that. That doesn't matter.
Mr. President.
All right, again, he's not going to say anything that's going to change the world right now except to fuck it up. Is someone vacuuming? No, I have, there were gardeners outside, which is very shocking because I think our gardeners come like every 6 months because we have a couple of plants. But our grass is fake. It's fucking Vegas. Like, why would anybody have real grass? You don't have to mow it, which is fantastic. But can you get egg insurance? Well, that guy does a subscription service. That's the guy that they were talking about, right? Is that people pay ahead of time for those eggs. But that guy can't raise his prices because people have subscribed to his local egg service, and once he's out, right? They have a certain amount that quota they have to make, and then he sells. If anything, they probably have an overage, and that's the eggs that he sells for more money. Yeah, no mowing at all. Yeah, Sarasota. Yep. Fake grass, really? Yes, because why would anybody have real grass in this kind of heat? It's stupid. It's a waste of water. All right, I know it's 2.25 hours. I know I'm at 2.5 hours. I gotta go because we're going to the Golden Knights game tonight, and I just got a message from Fugel saying asked me to be on his show on the radio. So I'm gonna have to do that, I guess, in the car on the way or something. We gotta leave at like 6 o'clock, but I'm sure I could find a place to do it quietly. I'll bring headphones. Good Lord. So anyways, you guys are awesome. Obviously, I'm waiting with bated breath, and I'm sure CSL and Andrea, you guys can keep an eye out. If any of the regular order of folks like I don't know, Benny Johnson or any of these folks actually come to Hegseth's defense, because that's drying up really fucking fast. Oh, and some good news. I'll leave you on this one, just with this little guy. Elon Musk, after his call today, has named an exit date for being on Doge because of like stockholders saying, "Get the fuck out of there. You're ruining the brand." And he may have to step down. He may be the chief product officer, but have to step down as the CEO to salvage the fucking company. Musk forced to name Doge exit date over Tesla dumpster fire. So good. It's so good. It's the laundromats. It's the laundromats. And it's not going to help, by the way. Nobody's going to buy this fucking thing. I mean, if he quits entirely, it might turn it around. But if he's making money off that fucking thing in the future, I mean, I don't know why anybody else would buy one, especially if you actually give a shit about the environment. From my lips to God's ear. That's the conduit. Anyways, you guys are awesome. I will see you later. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc., 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 etc. Yeah, the original, the OG theme song. All right, I'll see you guys later. Remember, this weekend, not the White House Correspondents' Dinner at meathook.live/not. And the meat is MEET, not meat, MEAT, so just say it. And then Friday night, Flappers, live show for our Patreon supporters, and I will find a way to either post it live or put it up for the members on YouTube. Might be right after it's done. I might have to do that. But I have to drive back right after the show. I'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. Something. Maybe I gotta do a separate channel. Wait. What if? Thank you guys so much. Hit the like on your way out.
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
We take for nothing!
I know it's a bit silly. Just a moment. Just a moment.
He's a genius, eh?
Okay, you guys aren't privy to all the new shit, so, but Hey, that's what you pay me for.